Welcome everybody to our NorthStarBall black card review this time. We've got the final logo now. Looks great.
Does.
Thank you very much.
It
I like
does.
we got black cards gonna be focused on Dark Demon Realm. So nice background. I found a DeviantArt. Good. Today you got me again, Dom Delmont. We have Dane is back because he has nothing else to do.
Oh, that's not true. I have
He just likes to
poker.
talk.
I do like to talk.
And today we got Josh Spinolski,
Got it. We're here.
longtime
I don't.
Dragon Ball card game player of all the Dragon Ball card games.
I don't think I've ever heard your last name pronounced before.
It's a mess. Don't worry about it.
It's very. Is this Swedish, right?
No, it's better than that. It's a long story, but
Oh.
it's a combination of Danish and Polish at
Oh,
the same
that's
time.
right. We talked about that
Woo!
before.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a story. That is a story. But yeah, black card review. I think it's
Ooh.
gonna be a short one this time because there was not as many cards as always for black, and they don't really follow a deck. Like the leader, like this is the only leader we got. This is the starter deck leader. Vegeta Xeno and Trunks Xeno that awakens into Vegex, the unsung fusion hero.
Can barely read that.
I know it's so bad, but thanks, Bandai.
I'm telling you guys, this leader one, it looks so good. The blue and purple, and then the swirls on the back. On the actual card, that's gonna look amazing.
Yeah.
The fact that it's active main is very good, rather than being an auto of when you attack, so you can kind of like chill back.
Agreed.
Do whatever you want. You get to do it on turn one. You haven't really lived until you've turn one, put out a Turles, and then overwhelmed to play the Trunks card that we'll get into in a little bit. Is a play of Vegeta reinforcements and then pass turn. It's so scary. It's so scary.
Yeah, I think the big thing people like about this leader is the anti mill strategy of you can't lose by decking out because you just reshuffle your deck.
Which, like, you can still though, right? Like,
Yeah,
sparking
you
20
absolutely can.
isn't all like that's the thing that people I don't think are always understanding is like sparking 20 isn't always the easiest thing to do all the time.
Well, one thing that I've run into is basically this leader says you're allowed to overwhelm at most 3 times in a game. You can turn 1 or 2 do it, so that way you can set up your like your basically your setup to play a Vegeta play.
Sure.
And then if you do your sparking 20 and you reshuffle, you can do that again. You can do the same after the first burst, overwhelm 3 or 5 or whatever. Or only when you're going
Yeah. Going for
because
game.
you realistically, if as soon as you've overwhelmed 12, 15 cards, you're not going to see sparking 20 again.
Right.
You have to keep it at a really low number in your actual warp to maintain any sort of clarity.
And I think that helps solve the debate of is this a 50 or 60 card deck?
Oh, it's a 60.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You just can't afford it.
Other than that, yeah, the leader pretty good on his own. The deck around it, you basically Black Mass saying is the hype right now. Way to, I think that card went up 1,000% in price from pennies to like
1,000%.
yeah, it went from like
It did.
literally pennies to double digits. So
Yeah.
yeah. Let's see other starter deck cards. We get a Unison, just like every other starter deck so far. It's pretty good. It plays itself. I think that's the theme is with these starter deck cards. For this starter deck, they all play themselves if they are sent from the deck to the drop from any effect.
From
If
your deck.
your leader's a Black
Yep.
Saiyan, so any effect, even
realistically,
if you're milled from like Janemba or Cooler, like you still get their effects.
yeah. So Janemba Cooler, but in the deck specifically, it is most relevant for if you decide to play that Ravager Vegeta, the set. It's like a old promo that's like
The
a
promo for
15K
set
crit.
5. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
the
it's like
Miraculous Revival. Yeah.
it's an old promo. Basically, that one says when you play this card. I don't even know if it's with Overwhelm or not, but I think it just says when you play it, mill 3. And then certainly
5.
Vegeta
It's
mill
5.
5.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a lot. And then
It's a big amount.
the World Martial Arts Tournament, which is an absurd card. Now the Reluctant Reinforcements that says mill 5, which sets you up for an Overrealm before you even do your active main.
Oh no, that one's the World Set 5 Power Booster. Yeah, that's the one that mills 5.
I
Which
think the
one?
other one just deals 3.
Yeah,
It's
which
Yeah, the set
revived
type one.
revived Ravager. But yeah, so as someone who's played it, Time Agent Trunks is very, very good. Putting up a blocker that self awakens
Yep.
when you have to play a unison is very powerful. Vegeta, I think as time goes on, it will probably be abandoned. If it's not, it's only because they're going to go with the U3 strategy.
or
Um,
Vegix plays.
or Vegex plays,
Yeah.
because when I was playing it, it's still just a 19k unique with no other keywords, and for all intents and purposes, the active battle isn't even worth having.
Yeah.
If it was 4 or less, the world of things you hit is infinitely better,
Or
but
even
it's not.
Ignore Barrier would have been great on it.
Mm-hmm.
And
But it
Active
just
Main.
With your little bit of testing, Dane, like with the Time Agent Trunks, with it being unique, did you run it at 4? Did you run it at 3? How often did it come up
I've
where you couldn't play it?
I've run it at 3. Only once in 5 games did I ever have it where I couldn't play it. With that said, that's also running no Vegetas and 4 Kai of Times.
Sure.
I have, however, hit Gotenks when Gotenks was on board, and he only plays if you're out of them. He doesn't add the marker.
Yep.
So you do kind of miss that sometimes where you're like, ooh, an extra marker on Gotenks would be really good because he's just a 5k. He
Right.
is.
Do you really think that the Gotenks is that good?
Yeah, I do.
I do.
So if he's in your hand, this deck is really energy efficient, especially in the mid game. So if realistically, I could see myself tapping 3 or 4 to play Gotenks one turn, just to give him a good base. And then he has a +2, which is really big, and your deck free plays a blocker. On top of that, because of the style of the deck, naturally you're going to play between 8 and 12 negates with Power Burst, the Goku negate, and not even a scratch.
Sure.
And I think it just kind of is a really value-based deck. Black has kind of been in that rut since about set 6 now, where they stopped being, or at least Black Control was stopping about generic answers and started being this it had to be value based to be good, and then it just got hyper aggro in set 8 or set 9.
Good old Boo U3.
Yeah, this is just the opposite of Toa in terms of advantage. Instead of killing your opponent's hand down to nothing, you just sit on 14 cards in hand in a black deck, and you're like, how did this happen? I just think it's really hard to lose with this deck sometimes. The biggest thing that I think it lacks in black in general is removal. We'll have to see. Because it's energy efficient, you'll probably want to end up running 2 of that demonic absorption. I think will be a big issue.
Cool.
Yeah, do you guys have any extra thoughts?
I think the starter deck is looking. This is probably the strongest looking starter deck, out of the box. Plus, it comes with Champa. 4 Champas.
More Champas.
It's not like we're just getting another one in the anniversary box about 2 months later, but you know what's fine.
Afterwards.
4 is just so many.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I think it really helps showing if we go back to that leader real quick, it has that permanent you can only play mono black battle cards. It really helps newer players know the difference between play and using a card.
True. If they're getting into the game and picking up a starter deck, oh yeah.
Yeah.
This is not
just helping them know about how Champa is just any attacking card, and your unison card is an attacking card.
Ooh, this is not a beginner-friendly starter deck. No.
Yeah, this kind of feels like the expert deck almost, but you don't get a pack.
Mhm.
But the
Aren't
reprint's
these
nice.
Aren't they all 3 starter decks for this like set?
Yeah,
Mhm.
and we're getting just these starter decks for the whole block.
And they're not expert decks.
No.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yep.
We did forget
What?
to mention with the leader also when I looked back at him. He
Double
does
strike on the unison.
double strike on the unison. It does awaken if you have 20 cards in your or more in your drop also. As the alternate awaken a condition. Just
Which
like
has been important.
yeah, which has been a nice thing that they added this set. So yeah, so that's the starter deck cards. Onto the
One last
set.
thing on Gotenks.
Oh
One
yeah.
last thing on Gotenks. That dude can just like out of nowhere. Because if you like pay 5 for Gotenks, or if you've already got one and you can minus for it, your leader gives it double strike and he gains 20k. So it's a 25k dual double unison card. So he's basically impossible to remove. That can just like win games out of nowhere. That was all I needed to say.
Yeah,
It's very odd that they included Champa in a deck that has an automatic double striker.
true. Yeah. Well, that's with
Cool,
the
cool.
leader. You got other cards you can give it to also. Just be pretty aggressive. Yeah, black has, like you said, like black seems like it. I feel like black has these ways to like become hyper aggressive, like since like Matt Satan starter deck,
Hmm.
just become hyper aggressive out of nowhere, and then they kind of want to control route with Hatchie and stuff and Toa,
Mm-hmm.
but now kind of like a mix now, like coming back to just value in this set, like you said. But onto the
I
pack.
also just, oh yeah, go
I'm
ahead.
sorry.
I just really like the Supreme Kai of Tai card from the starter deck.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's so good.
she,
It's so
she,
good.
she good.
It could be used in literally anything, and it just is a free 10k. Like if you can use it at the end of a game, if you're going for game, and just like, oh, now they're big.
For
And then obviously people talking about putting it in Boo, like it can
mhm.
fit in there
Yeah,
really easily.
it's just a good card. All right.
10k.
The rest of the pack now. There's no leader in the pack. There is one unison, but it's a super rare, so we'll leave that for the end because it doesn't actually go
Doesn't have an
into
arc.
anything like on its own, like a deck wise in here in the set.
Yeah, now within
So
the set.
just to go with theme, here are the Saiyans. They hyped up Vegix, but he mostly just got 2 cards and a starter.
Yep.
So let's see.
So
They're okay.
so when the Vegeta doesn't seem good to me. Like, am I crazy? That seems like really bad. Like that just seems really excessive for nothing.
It's just if you have another thing that's gonna go away anyway, it's just an extra way to get value off your, I don't know, draw a card. But yeah, I don't know.
It's very clearly supposed to be played off of the Trunks, and I just think there are such better Vegetas to be playing. I mean, on its own, I'd rather play a 20k barrier than a 15k draw card.
Yeah.
Yeah, what other like he has better targets. Like he can grab the
Ravager.
Ravager. So like the play is like overwhelm 3 for 1, get Ravager.
No,
That
get Reluctant Reinforcements. The big one. The big play you're talking about.
oh yeah. Time
That's
Ravager. I'm
Reluctant.
thinking Time Ravager. You in Toa you would grab Time Ravager Trunks or Vegeta. My
For a
bad.
critical body.
Uh, but for the Vegix deck you would grab for the Black Mass Saiyan strategy, grab Reluctant
Reinforcements.
Reinforcements and then
That's
go
the
into Black Mass Saiyan, and then you would probably fill up your whole drop with 15 Saiyans between you and your opponent by like the next turn.
Usually turn 3 it's live if you awaken it's live turn 3.
Yeah.
yeah.
So out of
And
these,
without
the
it,
Trunks is the Trunks is pretty good.
Trunks is great.
Mhm.
Vegix seems pretty lackluster in
Yeah, I
testing.
mean his ultimate thing is he's a 30k double striker that can blow something up, which like isn't bad, but
It's no protection.
yeah.
It's very weird that they like very small note that they made the 6-drop the rare.
Yeah, it kind of like
Oh
goes
yeah, I
against
didn't
our
even notice
cycle.
that.
That cycle
You're
we've
right.
had the last 2 colors of the rare being the boss.
Well, just beyond that, right? If you're a new player and you only buy let's say you buy the starter deck, 1 box or something, you're gonna get 2 Vegex, maybe.
And you'll
Like,
have all the 7 drops because they're commons.
but the
Yeah.
7-drop is the 7-drop isn't the crucial piece. The
No, it's
6-drop is.
irrelevant without the 6-drop.
So it's weird, but whatever. It's 3 energy to play a 25 double striker and a 30 double striker is still pretty good value. But just having no protection on either of them is a big iffy.
And it's 25 draw card because you get to add a battle card to cost 4 or less from your warp.
Yes, which by the way, you can grab basically every super combo.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yup.
Very, very solid card.
Whether it's
Sorry, go Josh.
whether I was gonna say the same thing. Whether it's your Supreme Kai super combo or Bibity, or there's a lot of good options.
I think as I've gone on, I think a 2-2 split of Trunks would be good. Trunks Sparking 5. 1, because it's on live immediately. 2, if you do have to overwhelm it, then it's a Trunks Xeno in your overwhelm for Vegex.
Yep.
Yeah,
and
because why
then
does that matter? Because Union Patara from the warp. Wow.
You know,
Yeah, this is the
Bandai
thing.
makes decisions.
This is the thing when Devin, who was in our blue review, check that out in our videos. When we saw the ruling update on the big rule sheet that's on the DBS card game website, that Union cards that are played from another area onto the battle area, like that ruling came out before any cards were revealed, and we knew about Vegix coming out, and we were just like, they're gonna do a Union Batora from Warp.
And we were right.
Whoa, look at that. We were surprised though about the Union Batara from the energy, which I think is also really cool. Definitely for blue, like that makes sense. But yeah, for a boss monster though, it's barely a boss monster. Like it's.
I call it in the deck. I've used it as a mid-range pressure tool.
Do you think there might be a secret rare for it coming up?
There is
That
the Gogeta. He is black.
There's the Gogeta.
Do we know the Gogeta's black though? Because I mean,
Yes.
we saw like the vanilla like version of it without any text. Are we sure it's black?
So there's no cost on it, and the black box in the corner is black.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
fairly sure they would. Yeah, it would be black. I don't think they would just
It's
be
just
like,
that we
here's
didn't
a
see
color.
any other, SS4 Goku or SS4 Vegeta within these black cards. And we might still see them in like red and yellow because that's going to be some more of the GT stuff. So I was just wondering.
Yeah, yellow would be
there can't
Union
be two.
Fusion with Shadow Dragons. There is Dane and I, last night we're looking at like the pack art that was released from some
There's a different
thing.
Gogeta art.
Yeah. Different Gogeta than what is the secret rare art that's on the pack and on the, I think it's on the premium pack. You can look up on the website.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I doubt they would have 2 black secret rares, but they might. I don't know.
That would be surprising.
I mean, we got back-to-back black ones, and if trends continue, it seems like they might be releasing a generic secret rare and then 2 archetypal ones based on colors.
And the generic one has been like Shadow Dragon Saga, like Negative Energy Ball, Shadow Dragon, Smoke Dragon, and now Gogeta. Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta.
But
I feel like Gogeta's going to be in an archetype though. Like we just haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, this sounds like yellow's a Union Fusion archetype, but we'll get to that when we get to yellow.
We'll see. Yep.
This is
it's a lot of there's a lot of Union going on in this set.
Which is cool.
Yeah.
I think it's one of the most interesting parts of Dragon Ball, so.
All right, so that's it for the Saiyans. On to the Demon Realm inhabitants.
I see 3 trash cards, 1 decently playable card, and then 2 good ones.
Yeah, so the Toa Dark Sorcerers isn't in the set, but it is the power
That's right.
premium
That's
booster. The premium pack.
Special packs like they used to have.
Yeah, basically special packs, but now we can just get 2 of it instead of 1, which is nice. You don't have to get as many.
Unless you want foil playset.
Yeah. Well, no. It should be both are
I think
foiled.
it's just a promo. I think they're just all foil.
Yeah.
Aren't they?
Both are foiled, I think.
I don't know.
I
I
don't
guess I'm not sure.
know.
I'll double check later. Either way, you get 2. I think that Toa is good, but the Toa in the pack that's a common, I thought was extremely weird because it's on play or attack for 215, which is great. It looks up the top 5 for a Demon Realm race card.
Which it misses all the Demiga cards and it misses all the cards.
Yeah, it misses all the Demigra, all the
All the Black
Mira,
Mass Sands. It's just Toa and like
Poutine, I think.
Poutine.
No,
Makiabora.
Poutine's an evil
But-
wizard. It
Makiabora.
hits
but now
Makibara
it's getting
And
Makibara, that's the big thing.
and Dubora.
and oh yeah, and
That was
Deborah.
the- You can find the Deborah counterplay, which I think is really good.
Yeah, I think right now it feels like black throughout this block might just be Demon Realm race support because nothing feels solidified.
I mean, set 7 or what was black in set 7?
It was like a little
That was
bit of
Salt
Demon
and
race.
Sands.
So it was like that was like
It was
Toki
yeah,
Toki City and that was like
yeah,
there was like not that many black cards in that set. I think it was just Toki
Yeah.
Toki City almost.
yeah.
It
So
was-
we've had just 2 sets of no Demon Realm support, so I could see it.
They still barely even have a deck, I feel like just Demon Realm itself. There's like the Migra Storm, but that uses the expansion promo from the Magnificent Collection. And then Toa, but Toa just spams Mira, which not even Demon Realm race
Mhm.
that this Toa searches for.
Doesn't grab, and you wouldn't want to do it because that's not crit.
Exactly.
Josh was gonna say something though.
What was it? Oh, just the other things, yeah, that came out in set 7. It wasn't a lot. It was assembling the squad and
Oh yeah.
it was ISRs, but nothing super.
That's right, the random
Um,
Shenron support
Toa
that
Dimension
comes out
Leaper.
of nowhere.
Oh, and we got the Spring Kai of Time blocker.
Yeah, so there's a couple.
Okay.
So they were all like generic, but they were like generic. They weren't like
they weren't
other than Toki Toki City, all of those are pretty generic.
Yeah.
But I don't think this Toa Dark Sorceress is good. As a Toa player, you pretty rarely actually play a Toa card, and there's not really any 2-drops that are honestly worth playing, except in the mirror where you want to play the what is the oh my gosh, what's her name? She's the expansion one that can steal a 2 or less for Overwhelm 4.
Ruler.
Time Ruler.
Yeah,
That might be it. And
I
so you
think-
you want to steal Vegeta's, but
Actually, she's a 4-drop.
It's 2 or more, that's fine.
Oh, 2 or
yeah,
more.
it's
Yeah,
2
yeah.
or more.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to spend an energy to Dark Overwhelm the 1.
Yep.
And shuffling back cards is important, but I think I'd rather just run Burning Impact at that point. I'd rather just find a generic Unison and run Burning Impact.
Really, because that's a counterattack. But we'll get to that one in a little bit, though. I have my own
Yeah.
thoughts on that too. But I think
just don't-
this Toa, if I am correct in thinking that like Demon Realm support will get support throughout the whole
thing.
Unison block,
Then yes, could be seed play.
because then we can use maybe there'll be another leader that comes out in the pack. But I think it could see play. I think adding back 4 cards on play, like from your opponent's drop, is pretty strong, depending on the deck. Like if
Mhm.
you have sparking effects, or even just like how these graveyard effects are working, like Ape Goku and Rebrian and
Roshi.
Dispo, Roshi, like I feel
yeah,
like
there's a good amount of things it can hit. Same with
Yeah.
Burning Impact.
and the fact that it hits 4
That's a lot.
4 battle cards, and it can hit 8 black battle cards, which is what the King Yemma and Krillin, the old cards that
do.
that thought were going to be sideboard cards that weren't, they only hit 2. Like this, I think this has potential, but
It does.
that's
It costs 1 to EX evolve on another Toa
and draws a card for it, so it basically
It
cantrips.
does. versus like we haven't gotten a Burning Impact yet, but that's
It Yeah, I just think there are better options for doing it, but it's not necessarily a bad card. Because there are good cards on this page, like this Mira,
Yeah,
Yep.
this Mira, this
who
Mira, ooh, it reminds me of Super 17, like the Unison Absorb. If you go into
yeah,
just like the cards from the pack, this Mira for like gets played for free if your board's empty, which is awesome. And then like for 3 energy, you play this 5-drop Mira. That
Yeah, I mean, you can either go into this crit barrier dude that gets rid of cards.
it's like
Good.
Infernal Machine, but you also don't have to discard to make your opponent discard 2. You just
and
discard 2 of your opponent's.
well, so it's even card advantage because you're still spending 2 cards because it's Mira into Mira to get them to discard 2.
Right. It's
Uh,
equalized.
I think what's really important is that it's critical instead of double strike. Really plays into the control aspect, and on top of that, there are other really good targets for this Mira.
Mhm.
Um, if you're just trying to finish the game in the ultimate box, there was a 5-drop Mira. Even if you don't get the Xeno Evolve effect,
It's a triple strike.
um, it's a triple strike, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
Which
I
is
It's a
forgot
super
about
good
that
for
one.
Yeah, the destruction mirror. It's just a 25k triple strike.
and in Toa, where you're a value-based deck, that could be really important. Is
Mhm.
ending the game 1 life sooner is the whole point. Um, Likewise, you have the actual anniversary box of the typical Toa gameplay, because as long as you don't have 5 card, oh, actually, I think it just says original, right? Yeah, original energy cost. So you could still pick the anniversary box
Yep.
card. And so on turn 3, if you have 10 cards in your warp, well, actually, you don't even
It
have
doesn't.
to.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
If you have a Toa in your warp, you can go boop and then go Mira 7, warp 3.
Yep.
Um, so you'll just have to basically go by play on what's important, because as someone who played Toa at Nats, Vegeta exploiting weakness is so frustrating to, and it's
Just get rid of
really hard to play around in Toa. And so, but this Mira, the 5-drop Mira, is still a way to control hand while having barrier. So if they're going to get rid of it, they have to get rid of the 2-drop, in which case, if you want, you could play another 2-drop, or then you could just do your normal strategy after they've spent a Vegeta. It is
I think
just very.
the versatility of having different options of 5-drop mirrors to go into is so valuable.
I agree. And what's
Yeah.
the other auto on the Mira? Oh yeah, you can like drop 2 to just negate an attack, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first attack. Yeah, and it's not even the first. It's just an attack per turn. Just negate it for 2 cards in hand. That's
Yep.
pretty good.
It's pretty solid. For like this is a common uncommon combo, so like I feel like that should have been the rare, but
I agree.
um, I think Toa players are very happy to see this. They can do their game plan a whole turn earlier now,
1 turn earlier. Yep.
which like makes a big difference in that deck.
Hmm.
Like Toa got
Uh,
hurt by a handful of things the last couple sets, but it's still a really good deck.
Still, it's very value driven, and it has a pretty good matchup with a lot of Surge decks.
Mhm.
Um, it's just that sometimes the Surge decks have too many answers, and it's really hard to. That's I think, like I said earlier, Black's biggest issue recently is Black isn't an answer color. It can't play based off of answers because then it's too generic, and every color has the same answers. So
Yeah,
it has to be value based,
and
or
Black also had the issue of not being able to have a rival,
yeah,
which is the big thing that we had in the Infinite Unity, right?
block. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
the
easily the
multicolor
biggest
meta,
change to the
basically.
game. Easily the biggest game to change the game is the way that the battle step works these days.
Yeah.
But
And
we're a little
Black,
bit more timed these days, so let's just touch really quickly. Demigra is Overwhelm 5, the same thing, combo with a card out of your opponent's hand. This card should have had crit. It does
casual,
what all the other it shows what all the other Demigras does, except it's Overwhelm 5, so it's harder to play.
yeah, like it doesn't do much. It's
Um,
nothing too surprising for Demigra decks, like pure Demigra.
Secret Identity Massan. This card seems really good, like the moment you read it, but as you start to really think about it, I think it falls short. I don't know what your guys. This feels really more like a card Josh would play, just based off of his play style of control, of like subtle control. But that's just in my book.
And I like it, but not for all situations. But I think about just like maybe not as prominent as it used to be, but like Dimensional Banisher Fu was a 5-drop worth of something. This goes up to a 6-drop worth of something, and it doesn't cost an energy to do it. Yes, it's one more overrealm, but I don't know.
Well, so and we were discussing that last night. Is that the big difference is, and I think you mean the Mass Saiyan, because Fu gets rid of anything.
Oh yeah, sorry, yeah.
But he only gets rid of one. Yeah. So and then the other one says overall 5 for 1, 20k double striker, warp anything 5 up to 5, not with blocker.
Right. Not with blocker. I forgot about that part too.
Yep.
And so
It's
as
like
someone who's go ahead, Dom.
it's like slightly. They're like you read it first, you want to say it's an upgrade right away. That's kind of where I was with it too. Than the old Mass Saiyan card, but I feel like it's a weird misbalance, like rebalancing of the card. It's not a 110k, it's a 505k combo. It doesn't cost 1, but it costs an extra overwhelm. It lost double strike, but an extra 5k power. So it's like a weird mix. It's kind of like when that new Zeno came out too, in set 7.
Yeah, some words are better. I think the original one is probably still slightly better. As someone who's played Overwhelm a lot, I very much value specific costs. 6 is not an easy number. 6 is a committing to 2 turns or multiple cards out of hand. 5, now especially with Vegex, I don't know.
Vegex, yeah.
Vegex, right? He literally is just burst 5. These other ones don't really have that same opportunity, and it's just not as easy because you have to give up a card in hand a lot of times or a card on board, and you just don't want to do that. So
yeah, that's about it for that.
Let's go to this next one.
We got something like very reminiscent. I can't speak. It reminds me of set 3 black cards when they first came out. So these cards all kind of have a theme where they need a specific colored leader that you have.
And then they all play into the theme of that color too.
Yeah, they all have unique, and they all have a different keyword. So Goku has crit. It goes with green, hand control. Bardock, double strike, red, aggro. Gravy has blocker, blue, defense, and Poutine has barrier, kind of more control for yellow.
Yep.
They all play each other based on like the strategy of the color you're running. So like Goku in green gets played off if your opponent discards a card, which Dane has pointed out before. I don't know in any of our stream, but
no, this is the first time it's been brought up in a public setting, and I haven't even seen anyone else talk about it. They will have to either errata or put a rule book clarification saying that discard and opponent placing a card in drop or placing a card in your opponent's drop are the same thing.
Yeah, because we've
otherwise
been casually saying
those are
discard.
different words.
Yeah, we've been casually saying discard. It's different phrasing, but yeah, everyone casually says discard, but now we actually have discard on a card.
Yep.
And I think there's another card too, right? The green cards.
All the new cards say it. And I think from here forward, it's just shorter than placing a card in the drop area. Even like the new Frieza leader says your opponent chooses one card in their hand and discards it, and then it says you discard one card in your opponent's hand. Regardless, though,
I could see Bandai just kind of being like kind of dicks about it though, and being like, no, discard is a new thing that's like for all these new cards with this new language, and it doesn't work with the old cards because they like making new cards and new sets that don't necessarily work with old stuff all the time, and just make like new archetypes.
Yeah, sadly, I agree, and that could happen. But they are doing really good at shortening text now. We have unique.
They are getting better.
We also have, if we notice on these cards,
side by side
keywords instead of like all the way through.
Yep.
So we'll see. They'll probably come up with the set.
I just saw something that's going to make all of you very upset with me. Every person watching the stream.
Oh no.
All of them have unique as the second keyword except for Gravy, who has it as the first.
Oh man. Oh no, Bandai.
There's not even a reason behind it. It's not alphabetical or anything.
Bandai, why?
But we can talk about
It's okay.
I
Those with
know.
OCD will probably, yeah, like Dane, will probably be upset.
Uh,
Yeah. So
we can just talk
Goku,
about the card strengths.
Goku played off. Discarding Bardock plays off if your opponent takes a life by a skill. Crit does count, should count.
Crit
If
does
if
count.
Android
It does
13
burn
counts,
damage.
we gotta see if double strike counts because technically that's a skill, but I feel like it won't in this case, or I don't feel like it should in this case.
Mm-hmm.
Double strike just increases the damage dealt.
Yeah, rather.
Gravy. I'm sorry, I'm just going through it quick.
No, go ahead.
We'll talk about the cards after a second. Gravy. If you send an energy, if an energy leaves your energy area, if card leaves your energy area due to a skill, so that
Or
works
your
really well
opponent.
with. Or your opponents. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
missed that part. And then Poutine, if you switch a card to rest mode, by opponent switches a card to rest mode by one of your skills, then these all can get to put in play for free.
Uh-huh.
Okay,
And
now
then they all have secondary effects too. That are I think as we go around the cards we'll talk about the secondary effects because they all play more into the colors.
yep.
Goku and Bardock, very subtly since as it does for both. 0-0 is such a good design choice. Give it up for Bandai.
I agree.
Give it up for Bandai. Otherwise that would just be, are you playing a hand control deck? Okay. 3 or 4 Gokus.
Yep.
But now it's like there's reasons to play it if your deck is a slow hand control and you need to start applying pressure. Because like Toa, when I was playing it, sometimes you literally wouldn't touch your opponent until turn 4. And it just takes too long to win the game and your opponent can just like cheese out something.
Yeah, unless you're playing the
This
crit, got the crits out, crit mirrors out early.
And so this Goku can really help with that. And then you notice that his second effect, also a green thing, board control.
Mm-hmm.
Warp him, choose a 4-drop or less, send it to the warp. Cool.
Neat.
That seems fine. Josh, you want to handle Bardock? Because I think this is going to be your territory.
Oh man, first thing I thought it was Pan. Oh yeah, but because there's so many different ways that this can be cheated out. Like we said, there's crit damage. There's the discard. There's
Red.
burn damage.
Red seems like it's gonna be burn focused this set based on that Yamcha we saw. So yeah.
Yamcha could be even like set 7 Gohan, Teen Gohan. Real easy ways to get it out. Yeah, it's just a great aggro card.
Yeah.
My biggest is
Wait a
just wondering
second.
how many to play in a deck.
Are you telling me that this Bardock could be played on turn 1 in that Gohan deck?
Ooh boy.
Oh wait. Oh man.
Oh my god, it can. Turn
I
1, you could.
know.
Oh,
What?
gross. Dane
It
is
doesn't
too
go
happy
away.
now.
It's not like some overwhelm thing that's 15k goes away. No, it stays there and it's hard to kill.
And then if your opponent
Because it'll
activates
go back
counter
to
skills,
active
you
mode.
just restand it. They can't
So
even
like,
negate it.
Oh.
Or if they negate another one of your cards, it just restands and attacks again.
and the amount of times people are countering like on their turn now too has gone up drastically since set 7. So like, it even happens
Yeah.
on their turn.
Dane's gonna
Wow.
make a Gohan deck now after
Wow.
this. He's
I've
gonna.
already done it.
I don't think I'm going to, but just wow. That's actually very strong. Okay, continue on, Josh, because okay, you keep doing that.
Dane needs a moment.
I really do.
Well, and then just like tiny other things too that you wouldn't necessarily think about. But like there's a couple. Oh gosh, what is it? It's there's a Bardock. If you get into late game, you can evolve it. It's a 5-drop that evolves on top of it. Oh gosh, what is it?
Oh, the
SS3 Bardock.
Yep,
Power
SS3
Unleashed, yeah,
Bardock.
because it's a Bardock Xeno and it's not a Black Mass Saiyan. The one that's got 30 triple and you can choose
Warp
5
the
cards.
board?
Yeah, warps the board.
Yeah.
And it doesn't choose. It doesn't say choose. It just places them in the drop, so it gets around barrier.
Or warp. Oh, I forgot it does get it. I didn't know that.
It does ignore barrier, yeah.
Oh damn.
When a card evolves, oh shoot! It's if your leader card is black.
Oh yeah, and you wouldn't be able to play both then.
Dang.
Never mind.
Almost
Thought I had
there.
a cool idea.
Almost there.
That's fine. This card is still nuts.
Card's
It's
so good.
I feel like I would have the talk about these next two, but I
I'll
mean,
take
it just
poutine. You take gravy because you're the
sure.
Zamasu guy.
I mean, so when he's removed, you get to switch an energy to active mode, which is kind of like a like you don't want you're trying to say to your opponent, hey, don't clear him or else. But realistically, I would trade putting up an energy unless they were tapped out on one life. I would trade put up an energy for a blocker any day. Um,
Especially a block.
especially yeah, without barrier. As we get into set 10 here, with mono blue being what seems to be the most common type of blue, this is pretty standardly the worst one, in my opinion, and I don't think it's really that close. I think all of the other ones have a very good potential to see play, and I think Gravy is just going to get left in the dust.
Yeah.
Uh, sure, it's a free blocker, but there's also that's only like if energy killed or removed or whatever, and there's just so many other different ways to play a free blocker. I mean, in the major blue decks, right? If you're playing any Trunks cards, okay, just play the My free blocker. If you're playing any Goku Black cards, play the Zamasu blocker.
Yep.
Like, there's so many free blockers. Playing one like this that has unique, that's off color, that doesn't do anything, doesn't really seem worth it.
3 stands of blue at energy.
It's actually just one of your energy. It doesn't specify.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. It is just one of your energy.
Which is good.
But since your leader is blue, you're basically always going to restand a blue, so that way you can dimension magic.
Yeah, that's the only thing it has. Maybe like you run this and I don't
You
even
could
know.
you could
Ramp Janimba with Zeno Unison. Not Ramp
yeah
Janimba. With Janimba with the Zeno Unison, you get a blocker and more energy
yeah, I could see that.
potentially.
But then of course if you ramp him off of Zeno, yikes.
Yeah.
So that's always a thought possibility. This is just pretty clearly the worst one. We can talk about Poutine, probably the best one.
Yep. Poutine.
Yeah, I love Bardock.
I think it goes Poutine, Bardock, Goku, Gravy.
Also, I realized about Bardock too before you start. If
Yeah.
they self-awaken themselves, you can play the card for free. When your opponent's life is added to their hand.
Skill. You're right.
By a skill. Oh man.
So
I was already thinking Trunks was a way to
Yeah.
activate that, but yeah, it's self-awakeners.
When your opponent self-awakens themselves, you can just play the card.
Turn 1, Gohan,
their
newfound
turn.
power, swing, play Bardock, thanks. Gross. Okay. Poutine though, probably the best. Gets played if you rest mode a card. Not something not new. We got like what? Bergamo does that too, but this is free. Zamasu. Barrier, so it's protected, which is great because that auto of once per turn, when an opponent plays a battle card using a skill or activates a counter, you choose one of your opponent's battle cards, switch to rest mode.
So good.
This so good versus Search
Hey,
Q.
time locks. Every turn it says one less attack, one less attack, one less attack.
Yeah. You're gonna play your Bardock Ape? Nope. Arrival? Nope. Rest it.
It's so good.
It's really
admittedly it is once per turn, interestingly. So your opponent could, like, if they plan to do that, they could drop their 1-drop cantrip or something and then play their dude during
it's
via a skill.
Played by a skill. So you would have to like play a 1-drop through a skill, which then you're using up that skill. So just playing it's not just when they play a battle card, it's when they play a battle card using a skill. So Arrival or
Gravy
autos.
Here. All of these autos.
All these autos, yeah. So
still interesting.
Yeah.
Good card. Easily the best.
And I'm kind of excited to see, like, definitely when we see more of what yellow brings, because we still haven't seen yellow or red. This is to point out, this is weird that we actually get the black cards before all the cards are done getting revealed. All the other colors have been revealed.
Right.
Usually black is last.
Cool.
We'll see. It doesn't seem like this set is going to have a lot of rest mode stuff. It has that one Broly Unison, But generally it's been just like the other good generic yellow cards. Champa the Trickster, Zamasu Super Combo, Bergamo. Actually, Bergamo triggers off of it. So Bojack Arrival. There's a lot of cards that switch cards to rest mode, and I think Poutine is just good at maintaining control.
Yep. All right.
Can't believe it has barrier. Can't believe it has barrier.
Little sneak peek. My bad.
Well,
The rest of the cards, we got Burning Impact, Time Bullet. Basically, this is the extra card pile. Majin Buu is basically an extra card.
Mm-hmm.
Burning Impact is the counter attack cycle of doesn't negate a card but gets an effect and you can play it for free. But it's not a super. Yeah, it's rare. You're right. It's not a super rare like the other ones. I think it'll have a spot at some point. Same with that Toa.
Just not right now.
Just not right now.
I
Maybe
think
against Boo, but
I think the big thing is that so maybe against Boo, but even then you don't want to tap an energy and you're not tapping out to play a unison. So I think what's important is you think, okay, well, what does this really hit? This hits aggro Boo, and then this hits the green drop area play, and it hits Goku Apes. But Goku Apes don't matter, because if you're playing against Surge-Q, they did it turn 1. So there's a good chance that you're still tapped out and you can't play this card yet. And if you're not tapped out, then you do really want to spend your 1 energy hoping that they attacked before they used the ape. Like,
But you shouldn't always assume you're playing it for 1 energy, right? You should, if you have a unison card in play, and a lot, like we've been talking about, a lot of these unison cards kind of get cheated out.
yeah, if you're playing to the black deck, it does come out for free.
Right, but this isn't exclusively a black deck card. This can be put in any deck that plays unison.
Unison.
Right, but there's no other way to cheat out a unison card yet besides the black one.
The black one.
Yeah.
So usually you're tapping out on turn 2 or 3 to play your unison and have some markers on it.
Topo can get away with it.
Topo can, because Topo and the new Vegeta, but that's a different topic.
Yeah.
I think the timing of this card, both in terms of the fact that it's a counter attack, is very awkward, but also because time when it's most effective is to prevent your opponent from getting rolling at the beginning of the game, or to prevent the game from snowballing at the end of the game. But at the end of the game, spending a card in hand to just prevent your opponent from doing something where they're already just kind of advancing a game state rather than advancing their game plan. Or sorry, other way around. They might just be like adding to their advantage rather than advancing their game plan. This doesn't really see it. Likewise, at the beginning of the game, it's too early. So you had to hope that you saw this Burning Impact, which means you're running more than a couple copies of it, to hopefully go, okay, well, I don't want the Surge-Q player to draw 2 on turn 2. Too late. Like, they swung, you counterplay, or you counterattack, you shuffle in nothing that's in their drop area, and then they go autos, draw 2, drop 8.
Yep.
Yeah. I feel like it's one of those cards that'll, as the game goes on, and just card pile drop zone interaction becomes more and more important, this card will gain more and more value.
Agreed.
And if it hadn't been 3 sets ago when things like Child's Wish was such a big deal, Wish stuff, this would have been a much bigger deal too.
Mm-hmm. Its time will come. Now is not the time.
I think once we finally get counter skill, if that finally happens,
I know Dave's been talking
about that would be
counter activate.
Counter main or whatever.
Yeah, because that would be the time to use that an effect like this, not on a counter attack. Time Bullet. This is the counterplay cycle, but for black. Also a rarity down than the other ones. Those are all rares in the blue.
You're right.
Yeah, those are all blue. Blue and green, they're rare, and in this one, it's uncommon. But this one, it's not leader specific or unison color specific. You just need a unison card in play.
But it also only hits 2 drops as opposed to 4 drops like the other ones.
Yeah, that's fine. It hits Topo.
Yeah, sure, it hits Topo, but the other ones, a lot of their skill comes from the fact that you can prevent your opponent's advancing game state along with the counter plays of just hitting normal stuff.
Which counter plays are you thinking of?
I do not foresee this card seeing play over, say, Denial of Hope or anything like that, because this card hits all the same targets or less than all of those cards.
Right, but you can do it for free just by discarding 2 cards, which is not too bad in some decks.
That's 3 cards in hand
That's
Three cards
true.
in
to
hand.
prevent one play.
That's a tough. That's a
That's a
that's-
tough sell.
yeah.
Okay,
I
okay,
agree.
okay.
I agree with Dan on that one.
Maybe that.
There will be time. If Cell gets unbanned, all of a
Right,
sudden we're all playing 4 copies of Time Bullet in our deck. But
right.
or not
I
Time
think
Bullet,
for the
the colored
cost
one.
and like the clutch play potential it could have, like stopping the a counterattack that's coming at you like Topo, Kakunza's, the counterplays, like yeah, maybe not now because I don't think there is any like strong combo deck that needs the time bullet to be like I need this to go through or else I lose the game or I need this to go through to win the game.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah, I think if once a combo deck comes out like that that needs something to go through, maybe like, like
Correct.
skillless Shenron that
Yeah,
needs to
it's
not
just a
get
2-drop
counterplayed.
though.
Yeah.
Two drops are just too low. This probably should have said 3, but
It hits like Vegeta the Krill and stuff, which is decent. It hits like stable counterplays, I think.
but there's just already so many there's counterplay styles to counterplay now. Particularly as we move into a meta that punishes players for playing on your turn and rewards aggressive slash advancing game state plays.
Yeah.
Um, especially based off of what the heck what's going on with yellow, which I am very scared for. But
Yeah.
it just doesn't. It's going to be worth it. I don't really have a whole lot more to say on it.
Nah. Majin Buu, that surprisingly doesn't help the Majin Buu deck tremendously, but he's to me this card came out of nowhere, but we'll take it.
It's a good card.
It draws a
Cycle
card. Cycle, yeah. At the end
one
of
energy,
turn though, which is weird,
pitch one,
but
or pitch one, 2.
pay 1 to pitch 1, draw 2. Yep. It has to be a
Which I
black
mean,
card.
yeah, your leader has to be black.
Leader's
But I mean,
black and a black card
And you have to
discarded.
discard a black card.
yeah.
But
But reasonably, I just think it's a pretty solid card. Wow, this card will see play in like Hachiyak. It's so good in that deck. Um, but something like all the other Overrealm based decks are about setting it up to do it every turn. I don't foresee this being that great in it. As I look at it, another big problem is that it's end of turn. It's not immediate. Sometimes drawing the 1 off of, say, not even a scratch, more important than more cycle at the end of the turn.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
actually, now thinking about this is kind of anti Majin Buu because yeah, you gotta activate it at the end of your turn. And you have to make sure that you have to make sure you
You
discard
have
a
to
black
have
card.
1 card in your hand at the end of your turn.
So
That's
yeah,
how
you would
that
have
works.
to activate Bibidi's effect first, or Bibidi Boo's effect. Draw your 5 cards, then discard 1 to draw 2 more. So I guess yeah, it does actually kind of work.
Would you put it in Toa, Thane?
No, because you overwhelm every turn.
Yeah, and then Vegeta would be your draw.
You never end up yeah.
Cool.
And it's cool. It's cool. It will find its place, but the current black decks, other than Hachiyak, probably won't really take it.
It's just limited to what it can go in right
Yeah.
now.
And it's cycling. Like drawing cards is always good.
Always good.
Super rares. Let's we know the order we want to do. We're gonna hit Shenron first. Uh, random skillless support. Cool. That
It's super
-7.
random.
It really is, and for the only pack black unison card, like
In the
okay,
set. Like, it's
And it,
crazy.
the activate main, the big one, like you want to get the 7. I like that, like 7 Dragon Balls, and wishing everyone back from your drop, or wishing everyone back to life. But it plays all skillless battle cards like that. 60 card deck that really technically could be play 59 battle cards. Well, you know what I'm
I
trying
guess
to
it could,
say.
yeah.
You can
Yeah,
play.
yeah.
This is like the most cards you can play at once
hmm
in the game.
It is the
I mean,
single effect that does that. However, it's still like is dumb because if you're playing a bunch of 20k 2-drops, they don't get played if you like Denial of Hope it. Because it's still
Exactly.
like it's just like, well, okay.
Where's my minus Killy zone?
none of them will hit the board if you play Preemptive Strike or Hidden Potential.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was what I was thinking about. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh,
But although
like
the plus minus 0 is really good, it's draw a card, play a battle card for free. Awesome.
no. You just play a card. You don't draw. Draws on the first
Oh,
one,
I'm sorry. Yeah.
which is also really really good.
I think you just use the first ability all the time and like eventually play it in Kinku and just
Yeah.
I agree.
that's
It's
most.
I'd rather run it for more pressure than based. I
This,
mean, for anything else, one energy to double strike and draw a card is usually better than Champa.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's actually it's really good. Kid Q would definitely run it. Maybe some hit deck.
Dom's working on a weird Bulma one where you just kill the drop.
I'm working on the wish of actually doing the -7 with Bulma and Saiyan and Earthling vanillas that act as blockers for your Shenron.
Yep.
But playing it, yeah, you're gonna play that. You're gonna play this Unison card for more than just one. You have to play it for like 4 or 5, or maybe even just play it for 7 and do the effect. But
Since he can't attack, it's okay if he hits drop right away.
Right.
or you play it for 6 and +1 and do it next turn. But
Then he's vulnerable.
exactly, and that's hoping with Bulma that you would block it for days. But then yeah,
And turn
Bulma.
7 is pretty far away in a deck that doesn't ramp at all.
But it's
Mhm.
Bulma. She blocks for days.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We know, Dom.
we'll
We
see.
know.
We'll see. I'll work on it.
We can talk the mediocre card first.
Toa,
What are you talking about?
play a
This
counterplay,
card
play
looks
this
so good.
card. It does look really good.
It looks so good.
1 drop. Do you have to pay the energy for this Toa? Haha. Yeah, you do. When this card is
Yes.
played, draw a card. So you cantrip on a counterplay, and then you shuffle 1 card. Your opponent's drop back in the deck.
I think this is considerably better than basically all the other options we've had so far. One, because it cantrips, but
Mhm.
two, because it just does the thing sooner.
Yeah,
If
it's
they
weird.
advance their game state at all, you just go Toa, remove it.
You can, like Child's Wish is gone, but like when they activate World Peace, counter window 1, counterplay, play this card, and pop it.
I
Pop the
mean,
card you think they're gonna grab.
you also don't have to counterplay it. You could just play it on your turn for 1,
Right.
cantrip, and shuffle
In normal
something.
turn 1 cantrip.
Which
Yeah.
is definitely like if we're talking about like the most relevant ones, which is like Surge Coup and Piccolo, putting those cards in their drop area, maybe like Cell, Goku, you go, okay, turn 1, passes to me, Toa, draw a card, shuffle it back in. Let's go to the next turn.
Especially if that was like their 1 card that they only had in their hand. They didn't keep like 2, or like they don't find another one for a couple turns. It's a big deal.
Mhm. So
Wait, when
good
if
card.
your opponent, if you're playing against Cell,
If you're
Surge
yeah,
Cell, that's activate from drop, right? Activate main for the Android 17.
yes,
So can't you?
activate
Yeah,
main.
yeah. So they activate main, you counter window 1, counterplay, send 17 to the no,
Mm,
because it's
No,
it's
no,
a pending. Yeah.
it's so, but you can
No, it becomes
do
a new
it.
card.
Is they will
They would
no
have Cell in the
no.
drop too.
You'll they'll have Cell in the drop
You
area,
get
and
Cell.
that's what you shuffle in,
Yeah.
because then they have to see Cell again, and they don't get to advance it because realistically on turn 3 you want, or turn 2 you want to 17 Cell, and then turn 3 you want to have the third card in there being Android 18 for your successor. But if you all of a sudden have to get rid of a 17 or an Android 18 or a Cell, that hurts because that's a card out of hand in a deck that doesn't actually plus.
Okay, we're saying for starting off saying that this one was mediocre. I think actually
Yeah,
it's growing on me now the more
we
we talk about it.
agreed.
it's not bad. It's just it's interesting that this one is the SR when there's so many other cards we've talked about.
I
So
think
like,
just because it's the
symbolic rarity.
It's gonna be
Like
like
imagine,
a staple sideboard card, depending on the meta.
yeah, depending on the meta.
Shenjita
But like
comes back? No. Go
no,
away. Get out of here.
but I mean, I just think about like I agree that it really is weird that this is the SR because this feels like a card that probably should have just been like an uncommon or a rare,
Yeah.
and then make the 7-drop forgets a super rare and it has like barrier or something, some slightly better effect. So that way it feels like that deck has a more clear boss monster rather than just I hope your unison stays alive.
Instead of generic, which is kind of seem like what they're going for with black, just being support. Cause are we eating anything else on Toa? Anybody, or can we go on to
Mm-mm.
the
The star,
yeah,
the star of the show.
way to shake up our Friday morning. Uh, Meki
First,
Kabura, Broken
first
Seal.
Meki
Woo!
Gabora card in the game.
We knew we were
Because
getting one in yellow, but
okay, so I've never played the Xenoverse games. Have you guys?
I haven't.
I have watched a lot of Team 4-Star play them.
Okay, so is because if I have this right, Meki Gabora is from the first game, and then Demigra is from the second game, right?
No, the Negers from the first game.
Okay, so
I
Demigra is
think
the first game, and then Meki Gabora is
I think
two.
Meki's just from Heroes.
And there's a Heroes thing. It's not necessarily a Xenoverse thing, but whatever.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's from Heroes, the manga, and the game.
He's in the manga.
There's a Heroes manga, I
Oh, the
think.
Heroes
Oh, the Heroes manga.
Yeah.
like
Got it.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Josh, you want to go over this card real quick?
Sure, I can. Well, how do we start?
Where do you begin?
It has the flex.
It's got okay. So yeah, the fact that it's got the flex means it's always gonna work,
Yep.
and it's already brought up a lot of controversy in the community because mainly with the specific nature of the wording of like title names for cards. I honestly don't think that it's that big of a deal, and here's why. Also coming from other card games like old Dragon Ball games and like Magic and other things that have similar effects to things like this. The thing that makes it hard is the person who's playing the card, not the person who is getting played. The person who's playing the card is the one who will benefit most as someone who's got really good knowledge of the game, and they get rewarded for that. And they get to name the thing that's specific. And it also only stops a play for a turn.
And you can't play it again.
Right, exactly. And then you can't play it again. It's a really, really good card. It has deflect, so you can't get around it. It can be sideboarded anywhere. And yeah, I don't know, it's really good, but I don't think it's broken.
I am in a pretty agreeable camp. The fact that its character name is going to cause some rule sharks to come up.
Of course.
Yeah.
But I don't think I think it's a pretty reasonable thing for you to say Son Goku and then to specify anything afterwards. So like childhood, adolescence,
GT,
GT,
Xeno,
BR,
BR.
whatever it is. Like it's there. You should be at a point if you're actually at a point in the game where you're going to say Nats to compete. You should be well aware the fact that the names matter.
Right.
So
and it's not like these haven't mattered up to this point. Like those things like Xeno and BR have mattered up to this point and they've been important. And everyone who's played this game for the first time has that realization. Literally every single person who plays this game
every
at some point goes, oh, I can't evolve these two together.
Or I can't fuse this Goku BR with this Vegeta.
Right.
So I think that's not a big deal. I am of the belief that at locals, obviously you shouldn't care. At Nats, I think that's pretty decent a reason to fit care. There are so many cards in this game, and as the game goes on longer, decks will become more diversified. You should just know your stuff. I think most importantly, this protects you from combo decks that like need to go off quickly that like barely make it to their turn.
Mm-hmm.
As an AOD
And
guy, I sad.
yeah, but also like so from this is our bias. One of our best players is Anthony, who is a baby player, and I will love to smack this card down on turn 2 and say, "Baby 5, stay away from me," because all of a sudden the pressure's gone. They're not playing their dudes or like anything, right? Like there, you can decide based off of the game plan. It's just so versatile. I can't I can't describe. It's such a strong, balanced card, and I appreciate Bandai for it.
Yeah, it slows down the play that if you just need one more turn to live to do like just to like set up a bit more, it gives you a bit more time. Um, I do like okay, so moving on from that controversial fact, besides the fact that in bigger tournaments, I would like note taking to be a thing, just for like the fact of my opponent said this card and not gonna change it on me
Hmm.
on my turn because I played something else or slightly different. If they messed up and forgot the GT or forgot that Gogeta is a 7 drop and not an 8 drop, like they're not gonna turn that around. Try to
Hmm.
like turn that around on you, but that becomes sportsmanship. And at locals, I think everyone, if you're playing locals, everyone can be more lax about this card. Like that's fine. Unless it's like finals, then yeah,
Yeah. There are other quality of life points on this card that I think are really important.
just don't
This
be a dick. Basically.
okay, I'm moving away from that now, Dom. I'm sorry.
All
We
right,
have to.
activate main.
Yeah,
This
the
card
plus
is
one a turn.
Kitku. It's Kitku.
What the heck?
It's Kitku. But Dark Dragon
Bandai.
Balls.
Only
So
from deck.
only from deck. Oh, only from deck, really? Oh
Only from deck.
yeah. But doesn't the
But
card shuffle
still,
back in the deck?
Then you just
yeah.
shuffle your deck. Yeah.
Uh, and so you just kind of go, okay, um,
Right?
Dark Dragon Ball.
The one star's Dark Dragon Ball shuffles back to the deck, right? At some point, somehow. I think it can.
Uh, I think there's like a Frieza that shuffles it back.
There's some
But either
recursion.
way, right? Assuming this is supposed to be part of an archetype later down the road, you're going to have 8 targets in your deck.
7.
Well, no,
Oh,
no, no,
the generic
because they
Dark
don't
Dragon Ball.
If there's a generic one, we don't know
Yeah.
yet.
presume it. Well, no, I'm saying so. If there's a generic Dark Dragon Ball, it will be 7. Like if they're trying to stick with that. But I think what's more realistic is that if they make a Dark Dragon Ball deck, they'll have it be that everything is rainbow, and so you'll probably run 2 archetypes, so like a Frieza Xeno and maybe a Broly Xeno together, because maybe they'll both be green,
Actually,
right?
they don't say you can run 7 of this card or
No,
Dark
they don't.
Dragon
That's
Balls.
why I said
Yeah.
8
You're
originally,
right.
is
You're
because
right.
I'm
You're
thinking you
right.
could run 2.
My bad.
So it's just plussing cards, which is good. It can advance the game state specifically for those types of decks. But I think also really important, why is this card 15k?
2 drop 15.
This
Child's
card should have
wish.
been this card should have been 5.
I
Let's just be
I
realistic.
agree. This is not a zero card. It's a card that's 100% focused around its effect. Why does it have to be a
Yeah,
15
it's like a big utility guy that's like, hey, I can actually do stuff too. This card's good. I do want to
This
point out with the
card could
Dark
go into
Dragon Ball
literally there could be 2 or 3 that's in every sideboard ever from
or
how
even
important.
main.
Yeah, from now. I would say I think 2 in the main of every deck you build, and then like 2 in the sideboard is a very reasonable thing to suggest. If you know your opponent's plays, you can just go, okay, no.
This card actively encourages and rewards your knowledge of the game as a player, actively encourages your skill of knowing what the current decks are, and that's a plus. The card
Is
also actively encourages creative deck building against the fact that this card exists, so that you don't only have one line of play to win the game.
I agree. Nightmare scenario for Broly BR and baby players.
Right, or anything else, yeah, that just has one.
Oh man, Broly BR.
Yeah, if it,
4 drop Broly BR, kill the 1 drop. Oh no,
yeah,
that's sad
or realist,
time.
or swing into the 4 drop and say 6 drop. Yeah,
Oh,
it's really rough out here for them. But
That
that's
is
not.
the biggest thing behind why one of the reasons why I don't like it is because of that. I wonder if this card would have made a lot more sense as like a 3-drop instead of a 2-drop.
That might be too
Because
late for some cases,
the
though.
point of the card is to stop your opponent. The card doesn't help you win the game; it stops your opponent from winning the game, right?
Yeah.
Well, we say that, but it's a +1 and 15k.
15k.
Yeah, I think we did end up going like longer, but I think that's because like the dredge deck, as people are calling it, is there's a lot of talk about there, and then this guy. My last, I just want to do. Are we good for last takes?
I'm
Sure.
good, yeah.
My last take with Meki Kabura, if we're saying that right. And people don't. Speaking of it,
Yeah,
people don't be dicks with pronunciation of cards.
Yeah, that's gonna be a big one.
Yeah, the
Veku, Viku.
right. Um,
that
they
jinx.
did say that in the announcement that this set is based on the one in NorthStarBall, which makes sense with some of the decks shown and the Xeno cards. Like we're probably gonna get Xeno Cell at some point too in this set. It sounds like based on the video. Um, if we continue with Black being like this and then throwing in some Xeno cards and more Dark Dragon Balls, like we mentioned, um, I think we'll see more Dark Dragon Ball cards later on in this year in this block in this block, and then um, Shadow Dragons maybe throughout the whole block too, because they only mentioned the Sin Shenron and the two-star dragon, but I forgot his name.
Haze, the green one.
Haze, yep. So we might get. So it sounds like we're getting two archetypes that are gonna span throughout the whole year, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, interesting to note too that the Dark Star balls are a separate storyline thing entirely. That it's part of the Demon Realm versus
Yeah,
the Black Star ball.
Dende made them.
Xeno Dende made them.
Yeah, different thing. And the Black Star balls were from the original Tommy Piccolo that they referred to back in GT when he was still one being and was like way more powerful, and that's why the red Shenron is like way more powerful. And that was where the Black Star balls come from. And those turn into the when the actual Dragon Balls get used too much, they crack and turn into the blue ones. There's a lot. There's a lot
It's
going
too
on
many
there.
balls.
Yeah.
Too many balls. Too
No.
much balls.
It's almost like it's called Dragon Ball.
Oh,
Yeah,
whoa,
we're out.
whoa.
Okay,
But yeah,
let's
this
talk
could be
about
an
the most
archetype.
exciting. Let's talk about the most exciting things for Black. We'll wrap up, and then afterwards we'll just stay live a little bit longer and talk about next week's colors. Anywho, Black cards are sick. The Jax is a lit leader. The fact that it's very different. It's a deck that has just the right amount of overwhelm without it feeling like you have to splash it, and without it feeling like it's necessary. It's a very happy medium. It rewards good planning, good math, and good deck building ratios. Uh,
And will only
it,
get better as more Black Unison cards come out to help give stuff double strike.
big
Yeah,
agree.
and ways to search Unison. That was my one bad like gripe about Shenron. There's no way to search it.
So
Not
I
yet.
think I think that lit leader is cool. Meki Kabura is gonna be
People.
a staple card. Everyone needs a playset. Don't think you can get away with 2 or 3. Just shell it out.
Just
Probably
do
week
it.
2 is when it'll be the cheapest for a while. Just shell out the money. You need
I
it.
like how you said the same thing about Trunks too, by the way.
I do.
This set's good.
I believe it, dude.
We're halfway
I'm
through.
talking. I'm talking to my roommate Matt. And I'm thinking we're gonna up 14 to 18 bucks because we both need a playset of Trunkses, Friezas. Presumably, there's a yellow and a red version of those cards. You need a playset of Meki Kabura. You need a playset of multiple Unisons that are all SRs. You need a couple of these other like off ones like Dormant Potential Unleash and Toa Twisted Sister. You just need so many cards out of this set, man.
Yeah, dude, this is a good set. It's a really good set. And I thought set 9 was
Uh,
pretty good set, but this is a really good set.
Yeah, I
you guys,
haven't felt this good about a set since I think when 7 came out. But I mean, that was also the start of a new block. So
Yeah.
yeah, again, it's the introducing new stuff is just cool.
Good time to
Anyone got
come
any?
in. Good time to come in the game. Good time to try to get your friends back in the game. Yeah,
We're really going to see a big shift in the way the game is played, which I really appreciate.
back to
Um,
mono. I like mono support.
well, I really like multicolors. It's just they were doing them almost incorrectly, where they made it so there's no point in not playing. If you're not playing hyper aggro, don't play multicolor. And
Yeah,
even if you are playing hyper aggro, you still might be playing multicolor.
I feel like we can have a lot of decks in the format, which is great. Josh, you got any last things? I know you gotta get going soon.
I do have to get going soon.
You got some last takes, and then Dane and I can hang out with our. I think our one viewer is Dane right now, but
Yeah. The leader's cool. A lot of cool things to do with it. I appreciate it. And Mecha Devore, like we were saying, they benefit being good. Like I think that's just a good thing. It benefits being good.
Are you
Um,
excited to drop a lot of money on this game?
for the 4 colored black cards that we talked about, I think they're great. And the options with mirror are awesome. Those are my favorites.
yeah.
Are you excited to buy a playset of Mechikabura?
No, I'm
Hey,
not.
there might be another stimulus check coming. It sounds like they're working on it. I think
working.
it didn't pass today, but I think it was today they were voting on it.
Repeat after me, Dom. The stimulus check
Stimulus
Is
check,
for
is
necessities.
for
cardboard.
essential.
Actually, I bought a computer. Like our quality here is gonna get better, but
Shiny
that
cardboard.
computer is essential. Shiny cardboard, which is
Essential.
this is why DraftBox 5 got bought out, and then everyone's like, oh wait, Set 10's coming out. Why did I do that? By the way, hey, DraftBox 6, something Giants. There's a ape Reddits. No one will let me talk about it on the Facebook group. I don't know why, but it's on GTS distribution website. Everyone can Google it. I don't think it's a leak, but I'm getting it out there.
He's our own Edward Snowden.
I got the codes.
I'm not associated with this man.
I literally just Googled GTS distribution. Everybody can go on that site. Oh look, you have 31 days to pre-order your set.
Okay.
All right. Good to talk to you guys. I
All
gotta get
right,
going.
thanks
Yeah.
Josh. Have a good one.
Thanks for having me on.
Thanks everyone else for coming in, watching. Uh, Subscribe, like, comment, all the good stuff. We'll be here next week with
Red or yellow.
I want to say red.
I also want to say red.
I think we're
I
going
think
back
red
in
is more
the
likely.
classic order of cards, the card numbers.
Um,
So red, Earthlings, Yamcha Pilaf, a new Pilaf leader that may or may not. It'd be cool if we get a Wish leader again,
I
but
wish.
probably not.
I know.
We'll see.
oh,
Earthling support, burn cards. It's gonna be great.
Cool, cool.
All
all
right.
right.
The North Star Ball. Thanks again. Have a good night or day. Have a good one.